When I first moved to Paris, when I first moved to Paris, I didn't know anyone. I actually had never even visited Paris. Maybe I like Googled a couple of YouTubers, but no one really was telling me how I could really integrate. Like there was conversations about the visa, of course. There was conversations about the language, but like really integrating yourself into Paris was like not a huge conversation. So I was thinking, well, what do I wish I knew before I moved here? And one of those things would be to figure out how I was going to integrate here. So the wine we have is from my favorite region, Von d'Alsace. I want to say towards the northeast region. So I'm gonna tell you. Oh, I almost got it. Wow! And hopefully these are things that. Whoa! Does this count as drinking on the job? No, I'm just playing. Anyway, the 5 ways that I have been able to manage to make this place a home, and by integrated, I mean culture. I mean engaging with the locals. I mean, I am happy to say that I think I only have 3 American friends maximum, and the rest are from all over the world. But I have a few French friends, which people told me when you first move here, like, oh, it's really hard to make French friends. But we're gonna talk about that. Action brings on luck. Was speaking, like I was talking, I was telling people, like for instance, when I lived in London, I was telling um, the Airbnb hostess who happened to be voila Parisian, that, oh, I was thinking about living in Paris. And she was like, if you ever want to live in Paris, let me know. Like, and then when I finally made the decision to move to Paris, I had already started like an English with an English teacher, Mom, we're friends to this day. And she was helping me with my language, but she was also like, hey, Monica, if you need anything, I used to live in Paris, I have friends, let me know. Say that action, and that can be literally like the action of taking the French class, or it can be the action of letting people know that you want to do something. Literally, were two of the most pivotal things that helped me get integrated. Have a conversation with people. Like, you don't have to make it a grand announcement. You don't have to say like for sure the date. I just think there is something genuine about just letting people know your interests and connecting on that. Story time. So the first instance after I had got settled with the visa, I should mention that my visa the first time was going through to school, which I left because it was a hot mess. But like during the between that time, a place fell through for me to live because it sold early, and so I had to look for a new place to live. And I was smoking weed back in the day, and I was looking. I was like, okay, how could I find some weed? And guess what? Your girl went on Hinge, and I was specifically like, looking at the profiles because I was like, oh, okay, find someone who does smoke. Because my rationality was, if they smoke, then maybe they smoke weed. And if they smoke weed, then they probably got a weed connect. I do not advise this, but it worked. And I ended up meeting a guy who we ended up being really cool, kick it off. And he did give me a weed connect. Not only that, I was just so happening one day we were chit chatting at the park, and I was like, oh man, my place fell through. What am I gonna like do? Da 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 da. He was like, actually, I'm about to move. So you should maybe talk to my proprietaire. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And I kid you not, I said, okay, I want to be moved into a new place by October the 1st. I was moving to that place at October the 1st. Integrate is using apps. Bumble, BFF, I feel like are very common for people to use in a way to integrate. I do will say like I don't know how. I think you have to kind of like dating, you have to go about it a couple of times until you found like a real friendship match. But join groups, like especially here in Paris, the French still really, really, really love them some Facebook. Like there's so many Facebook groups, right? And so I still think that for a new person, Facebook is a good resource because you do have the groups in it, and the administrators, especially here, are so uh, like professional about how they run the groups. Not only again groups maybe for like legal reasons, but going to the places that you're interested in. This is crazy because now I'm thinking about it, this is what they tell you for about dating, which honestly finding friends is like dating because you go through a circular motion of a circular motion. I'm an actress and I wanted to start going back to acting class. My top tier homies I met through acting, through an acting group, an acting class. Um, what else did I do? Oh, in France, like the biggest thing, I do not know what the equivalent, if you live in the US, I do not know what the equivalent of, but I will say the French take their hobbies and interests so serious. Like you will be surprised when you walk in, whether that's a boxing class, a grappling class, acting class, kizumba, volleyball, like tennis. The French are going to show up. And so I think this, especially if you are moving abroad, because I think that one really pushes you to have to be more open. And my other tip is you got to go more than once. Like, check and see what associations, like here in France, they have a lot of associations, which is like organizations that like regular individuals should start up because of their interest, and then they sign up. It's also cheap as well. Like especially like language ones. Like I've taken language associations. Language class is another great way to integrate, especially into another like a foreign country. I'll say that I guess you can go to bars and stuff, but everyone I've met them outside of a bar. And I distinctly remember a friend telling me that when she moved, she wanted to redo over like how she met friends because she didn't want to just meet party friends because party friends can be very fleeting because it's all about partying. Not true for everyone, but just I would say consider whatever like your interests are and your normal attitude, like your habits, and based off those things, I would then try to find like groups and things to go to. If you like painting, like I said, France is super great about just offering these like associations, and they're for a year. So guess what? You have to go more than once. Go more than once. Don't go one time talking about some, oh, I went 2 or 3 times. 2 or 3 times is not enough. For my volleyball team, this is like my third year going. I was trembling. Didn't really, my French was all jaggedy. I was trembling when I first went to my association day. Like truly my partner, who I met through Kizumba class, literally was like, sign up to this association for volleyball. They were really kind. They're really nice. And that's something else I would say. People are kind and open. They just don't know you. Just like you don't know them. So I didn't go to all of them at once, actually. Like I feel like Kizumba was first and then volleyball and then my acting class. That's how that staggered up. I think you genuinely just have to go out in the world and be interested in something, and I think that will naturally bring you to like-minded people. This is definitely dating advice that people have given. So instead of using it to find a man or a woman, go find a friend. Take all the dating advice you just received and go find a friend. That's what you should do. Anyways, you can probably tell if you're interested. I'm not saying force yourself to stay anywhere that you're not interested in. I just am trying to say that you do need to give it enough time to be able to feel at least decently enough comfortable and so a level of comfort, going to mutual friends events and outings when people were like, "Hey, would you like to come?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll try it." And some nights were really great and I had a time of my life. And then some nights were like, "Oh, why am I here?" But I met cool people. I was able to get out there and socialize, really integrate into a new city, literally a new world, like another country, is to stop trying to do things how you used to do them based on what you used to, or who you used to be. Because every new city, every new country is bringing something new. So who I was in Arkansas and Portland, like there was these interests. I think always follow the interests if you have them, and if not, be interested in something. But literally, the level of comfort that I had going from like living in Portland or LA to Paris was drastic. Like there was a language difference. So there just mean like I had to be even more, some people would say courageous. I would just say less judgmental. Like I had to like judge myself less for like going and trying different new things. And so I don't think necessarily the way you used to be will give you new results. And if you yourself feel like you haven't yet integrated into whatever like new city or new country, it might be because you are still trying to like adopt your old ways, your old attitudes and behaviors to new contexts. Like once that finally hit me that I'm like, you're applying old ways of being to new contexts, it like totally revamped like my approach because I was like, that doesn't work and it doesn't work here. And I'm not getting like the friendships or the depth of friends as much as I want here. Super important thing that helped me integrate into Paris was like I actually had a therapist. And I don't think people, I don't know if I see people talk about this a lot, but I think it's worthwhile that any transitional phase in your life, whether that is dating or parenthood or new country, new job, that what I'm trying to say is support is so necessary during transitional moments. And I but I will say a thing that helped me stay grounded here in Paris for as long as I've been here, which is like 4 years now, is not just the friendships I made here, because those, like I said, those, I had to cycle through a couple of places and people and things before I arrived at like my core. What really was that helped me stay here and ground was the support I previously had. And so I know it may be like luxurious, be like, new me, start all over, like, y'all don't know me, brand new. I would maybe consider what support systems do you already have? And even though you may feel like you're leaving them, and I wrestled with a lot of guilt for that, it was because of my best friend in Portland and my mom and my brother and my sister who always made sure to like give me FaceTime calls with my nephews and my grandmother. And it was the phone calls with my grandmother. And it definitely was having a therapist during this transitional time, especially when I was like finding about my American neurosis and like credit scores don't exist. Like it was so much information coming at me so fast that I never considered like there's a new existence out there that I haven't grappled with. And so I would say another way that I integrated really well in Paris and that I would suggest is coming over anywhere, having an already defined support system, talking to my mom and my best friend twice, because regardless of like me telling you to go and have hobbies and things of that nature, there's still going to be the time that it takes to actually go formulate these relationships. And so, my best advice is to one, don't apply old ways of being to new contexts. It's a fresh slate, it's something different. I think be an observer and let people know what you want, who you are, what you're trying to do, because you might be surprised about who's already done it or has a similar experience to who help you. So, the thing I would say is really integrating by like following your interests. Again, there's a lot of dating advice about this, but going to places that you're genuinely interested, one, it just makes it easier because I think you have a low stakes kind of way of being because you're coming from something that you're genuinely interested in and trying to either have fun or be more knowledgeable. I really do think for sure that that is like one of the best ways that I've integrated into Paris. It's just following that. And I mean, I get to play volleyball. Like, matter of fact, I feel like I use my volleyball. That's probably one thing I bring everywhere. I'm always like, where's the volleyball team? Where's the volleyball club? I love volleyball. And so I just go do the things that I love. Or I go experiment. Like I had never done kizumba. I was like, oh, I should do salsa. Like, what is kizumba? And I did end up meeting my partner randomly. This is not dating advice. This is about integrating and having a full life here in either a new city or a new country. Facebook groups, incredibly helpful, especially for like pointing you into like directions of events and situations like that. Huge like grounding factor is if you already have or if you can have a support system that can ground you as far as like filling that void of because loneliness will become a thing, right? Like you not moving in the day to day of your friends and your family will make you feel alone and guilt. But having those connections is incredibly helpful. And possibly, maybe, if you can, having a therapist, a professional person to guide you through transitional moments is also incredibly pivotal. And for some people, that when I was ready to leave or when I was super frustrated, it was like my family and my friends who knew at the core about like why I really wanted to stay and what I really wanted to do, who helped me stay here the longest and fill that void and gap with love until new things started to spring up for me in my life here. It is not easy to literally go uproot yourself anywhere, new city, let alone a new country. And so you've already taken that step to do that. That was the biggest risk. Now go enjoy it. And I think the only way to enjoy it is to really try to integrate yourself into it. So if any of these tips were helpful, please let me know. If you want me to expand on anything, let me know. If you want to know some groups or places and because you're already in Paris or you're coming, hit me up, leave like a comment. I'm happy to share any resources that may be of interest to you. Um, yeah, and if you do any of this advice, please come back and let me know how it helped you because we're all just trying to live a good life. You know what I mean? So these are all the ways and all the things to help me integrate and really have a very good life here in Paris. Till next time, bisous. What was my point about that?